We go and hello everyone. Welcome to the Puff and Pulse Variety Hour. I am the man after midnight, Dead Pulse. Joining me in the booth, Gregory Puff. How's it going today, sir?
It's going pretty good. I'm just looking at these flags that Hate posted for his run, and I'm just like, okay, these are definitely this is a lot going on here. We got like three loose, we've got some ridiculous scaling, we've got some random chests in certain dungeons behind gating, we've got some trap chests.
There's a
We got a
lot
lot
there's a
going
lot
on.
going on.
We've got
But
we've got a party draft going on, so maybe that's why I don't know. We're gonna go over everything here in just a second. I'm
yeah,
very excited about this run, though.
we'll see. So we also have Danny in the booth with us, our special guest for tonight. Danny, how was your night been?
Not going too bad.
So first, Greg, I want to go over so we just started a 3 week tournament, the Platy Party. The
Uh-huh.
first race was on Sunday, and
We've
we had I think 15 runners, which
yeah,
is more than we were expecting. But how is score breakdown? Do we have a top five current?
we do have a top five current, and I have to pull it up because I just had it up a second ago, and then of course I deleted it. Now I don't know what's going on anymore. So let me go on ahead, go to the thing, hit the pins, look to the scores that should be updated, and in first place with 30 points, taking it away, showing everybody that you know just speed and power is what it's all about. We have DB's RNG, first place with 30 points. In second place, we have Adam Rupi, 80
ADR.
here, but it's Adam Rupi here, 27 points. In third place, Luffy, DV, former admin. Wish we could have kept him as admin. I'm bummed about that, but he is doing third place. I'm very excited that he's here. Saracen, new mod around here, fourth place with 23 points. And in fifth place, with 21 points, Admiral Tryhard, which is one of our newer runners here, who is no longer a Duckling, and he is obviously doing pretty well with fifth place in our Platy playoff thing.
What I love about the Platy Party is you could have listed off any five people that participated as being in the top five, and I wouldn't have been surprised. Like all of these runners have shown that they have exactly what it takes to win tournaments, and I'm really excited for the next two races that'll be coming up in the next two Sundays.
Yeah, so I agree with you. I'm pretty excited about this. Great runners in here. Hopefully they'll show up on Sunday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That'll be race two, and then of course race three will happen the following Sunday, and then we will declare our Platimus Prime. And DV's RNG is in a good spot to be that Platimus Prime with his 30 points.
Oh yeah, but it's still anyone's game, so we're gonna have to see that. Yeah, see how everything plays out. But let's change gears real quick. We also have the Duck Derby that's going to be coming up. I think in 3 weeks is going to be the first race, January 3rd, I believe.
That is correct. The group one is going to be Tuesday nights at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Second
That'll be
correction, that's January 4th. Not sure if you got that. It's January 4th is Tuesday.
yes, sorry, January 4th, and then uh, sorry, I didn't hear any of that. And on Sunday, uh, uh, January 9th is when Group Two will do their thing, and that's at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as well. And so we will put all that information out literally this coming Sunday. On Sunday, this Sunday, sign up for the Duck Derby. They close. So if you want to be a part of the Duck Derby, now is the time to sign up. Otherwise, you are completely out of luck here because we want to go on ahead and get Group One and Group Two's uh, lists out there so that they know that they are racing. That gives them 2 whole weeks to get their lives together, figure out that they're doing the race on those times so that they can schedule with their families and whatever. and make things happen. So signups will end Sunday after our Duckling reveal slash Platy Party race thing. And yeah, there will be a Tuesday race at 9:30, 4th through the 25th, and a Sunday race 9th through the 30th at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That'll be groups 1 and groups 2, and we will go over all the scoring stuff once we have the amount of people that will be participating in those races. And there's the scoring system that Dead Pulse has come up with, and I'm sure he will gladly go over that.
Oh yeah,
Once that goes.
once we get all that, we'll figure out a real way to explain it. It's not that hard. It's going to be essentially the same one as the Platy Party. But that is super exciting. Let's move on to our interview. So Danny is here, as we stated before. And I don't know what kind of title that I wanted to call you for this, like the Queen of Broadcasting or something along those lines. But everyone here, everyone here appreciates everything that you do, not just involving broadcasting, but that's kind of why I wanted you here. We've got a lot of new players, and we have a lot of veteran players who may not be involved with the race crew. Just so maybe give us a little bit of a spiel on why someone should join the race crew, and how rewarding it may or may not be.
Yeah, that's right, folks. That Paul's dragged me in here to talk y'all into doing work. No. Also, real quick, just a reminder for those who don't know all the dates Greg was listing. If you get confused or forget them in the calendar of events channel, all of the dates for the Platy Party, Duck Derby, everything that's coming up with those dates and times are all listed in there. As for race crew, for those who do not know what race crew is, what we lovingly call our race crew, those are the people that make our broadcast happen. That is our commentators, our trackers, and our restreamers. We have the best race crew in from any community ever, and I'll fight anybody who says otherwise. And we have an awesome amount of volunteers who work their butts off all the time, but we are always more than happy and welcome to have new people that are interested in helping out, joining. And basically, the easiest way to really get involved is just to let a lot of times me know or post in like our scheduling channel if there is an upcoming race or you see the ping and help is needed. Um, Restreaming will start there. If you would like to be a restreamer, and that's basically anybody on that goes into our FFR channel or our RPG rig that restreams the races live for everybody to watch. This involves a lot of things, computer things, and setting up things that I'm not real good at explaining. Sorry, but we do have a guide that tells you how. And we have a lot of restreamers who have always been incredibly helpful at helping new people get set up, and we can set you up with one of those. As for commentary and tracking, I've always suggested that tracking is usually the easiest way to get into being into like tracking, commentary, either one, because it not only lets you get a kind of a feel for how the races are run, but if you are a beginner, it's really easy way to learn. I started tracking when I was learning how to play, and watching people who are more experienced and better than me. I learned a lot from just because you have to pay super close attention to those races, and I learned a lot from those. And it's a great way to kind of get your foot into doing race crew. And then after that, those who like to try commentary, same with tracking. When you first start tracking, I will pair you with someone who is an experienced tracker. That way you don't go in feeling pressure. You have it's a lot easier for you to kind of get acquainted with things and how things work and just kind of get a feel for how you're doing it. Same with commentary. Once you want to try commentary, we will find an experienced commentator to kind of pair you with. That way you can kind of ease into it and there's not a lot of pressure on you to just be good at it. There's somebody there to help you. Kind of ease you into it some.
Yeah, I do remember the first commentary or tracking that I did. I believe Dana, you helped me. We were both in there, and we had to track a 4-person all loose or something. And it was you made it very easy for me to follow along, and we did a pretty stand up job, and I appreciate that to this day. Um,
Uh,
so
yeah,
that
my
was
first time tracking was a bit of a hot mess. So I've tried my best to make sure going forward with new people who come into it or just any type of help with our broadcast to make it as simple and easy for them as possible so that like they learn why they're doing it and it's easier going forward than just kind of getting thrown off the deep end just like here, this is just do the thing.
So let's go around. Danny and Greg, both of you are very experienced in commentary. What's one piece of advice that you could give anybody who's looking to do commentary, either to make themselves better with it or to get them more comfortable? Number one advice. I'll start with you, Danny.
Oh, good question.
On the
Not
spot.
yeah. Um I don't know. There's a lot of things I think that's helpful. I think sometimes the more knowledgeable you are about things, the better you'll be at commentary. So, and I'm going to give two things. I know you asked for one, but I'm giving two because I think they're both very important. One, know the flag set that you are commentating on because going into it, like you're able to speak better about things that are going on in the race, the way, maybe some of the decisions players are making. If you are, if you know the flags that they're racing, like in just all the details of the flags, it'll make commentating on that race, what the players are doing, how things are going, and stuff like that. It'll make that much easier and it'll make comms better. My second bit of advice, I'm a rebel, I'm giving two, is be mindful of your co-coms because a lot of times, especially because there's a lot of stuff going on, things can get crazy. Just be mindful of like each other and try like and if there's a thing maybe you don't know and you're with an experienced person, like, hey, it's absolutely fine to ask questions during commentary. Be like, I'm not sure how this works. And then that person can explain it to you because then the audience is learning with you. Things like that. And also just like I said, mindful. Work together, like play off each other, but also be careful not to speak over each other because then that makes comms hard to understand. So basically just that. Know what you're commentating on and be mindful of your co-com. I think are probably my two biggest words of advice going into it,
I hope everyone's taking notes. There will be a test on this later.
right? Multiple choice. I'll pass out the number
No,
two pencils when
essay
we're done.
answer. Essay answers
Fill
only.
in the circles.
Oxford commas necessary. Gregly Puff, how about yourself? One or two if you want to be a rebel as well.
Well, I mean, outside of the old know your flags, please know your flags. Geez, if you're going to show up and you're going to talk about the game, at least know the game, at least look over the flags. Make sure you know what's incentivized, what's not incentivized, what the scaling is, so forth and so on, so that you understand that the plays or understand what the runners are doing. Because if you're talking about stuff and you're like, well, I don't understand why the runners here, and then you're like, oh, that's because that's incentivized and that's why they're here, then you're doing nobody any favors. The people that are watching don't understand. It's already hard to follow a randomizer to begin with, and if you don't know what you're talking about, then well, it's not going to be easy for the people out there to understand what they're talking about or what they're hearing anyway. Um, I would say the other thing is to make sure you put over the runners. Like, and when I say put over the runners, I mean don't dog a runner's player or play. I mean, um, make sure that you, even if they're doing something that you don't agree with, say that, just try your best to spin it in a very positive way because at the end of the day, who knows what they're thinking? You don't know what they're thinking and you don't want to crap all over that person's play. So it's all about making the runners look good all the time because it's not about the commentators, it's about the people that are running the race. So that's really the only other advice I would say is like you are commentating the race, but it's not about you as the commentator, it's about the racers and you want to make sure that the racers look good um while they're doing their thing. If that makes any sense.
Oh yeah,
Sometimes the
that's
game
that's
can be
great.
mean. Commentary shouldn't be.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. So I only have one because you covered most of them, and that is actually to practice your outros. And
Mm.
you can include your intros. I'm going to give you an example. So I currently reside in the lovely state of Minnesota. That's in the United States. For those of you who don't know, and we have something called a Minnesota goodbye. Anytime that there's a family get together, you remember those. Um, Once you start to say goodbye, you don't actually leave until about 45 minutes later. You have to go around to each separate person again, and make sure you get your hugs and oh, I have a funny cat video I have to show or whatever. So every goodbye is always a Minnesota goodbye. That should not be the way for broadcasting. After you do your interviews, your select questions, when it's time to go, don't linger on. Just have your this is what we're going to say, this is all the upcoming events, and we're leaving. I'm still working on that one. But yeah, absolutely. Like race crew for me has been really rewarding, and especially with not only the Duck Derby coming up, which we're probably going to need people at least for tracking, if not comps. Spring tournament is right around the corner. I mean, I know it's almost just winter, but spring tournament requires a lot from the race crew, and it's a lot of stress when I can't speak personally to this, but Danny, have you ever posted something in the morning and nobody's responded, and the race is going on in about 2 hours and no one's available?
That occasionally happened during any tournament or any broadcast. And when that happens, and it's fine, like I would never be like, we need this on. And when we don't have crew, then sometimes races just don't get broadcast. With spring tournament, a lot of times last year, what we ended up doing were the Bicky broadcast of those, and that's where someone restreams it. So we have the VOD of it, just without comms and tracking, which is fun. I may have done a few of those very poorly because a restreamer, this girl is not. Um, but yeah, sometimes it can be a little stressful, and then there's times where we're the break in case of emergency person does comms and tracking, or we have somebody tracking and restreaming. We have a lot of people who's pulled double duty before. So and those people are proof that not all heroes wear capes. But yeah, like the more people that want to get involved and help, the happier the person who pings race crew will be. Um I won't share names, but I promise you she is very grateful for all the help she gets. So, but yeah, anyone who wants to get involved, try it out. I We have guides that help you with everything. I always make sure to set people up with an experienced person their first time tracking, comms, whatever it is. If you want to try restreaming, we'll get you set up with someone who can make sure your setup is correct. And we'll go from there. But like I said, all you have to do is let us know. Usually the scheduling channel is a good place to do that. Give yourself the race crew role in the role request room, and then on days when we need race crew, that gets pinged, and then you'll know when help's needed. And then even if you haven't done it yet and you get the race crew role, like that's a good way. And you can jump in and say, hey, I'm available. I'd like to help. And then we can get you set up. But it really is easy to get into, and the help is always very, very, very appreciated.
Oh, absolutely. Well, thank you very much, Danny. And remember, if you want to join the race crew, you can either assign yourself the role or message Danny. She can get you all set up. Speaking of race crew, I think we're about to review someone who's pretty deep into the race crew. I think Hate's done one or two races.
Uh-huh. Yeah, Hate's been an absolute ton of help with race crew things. He comms, he tracks, he restreams. Sometimes he does more than one at the same time. Hates good people.
Well, we're gonna see how this goes on here. So, without further ado, let's get on to the review here. Greg, do you still have the flags pulled up?
Sure do.
Do you want to run over kind of the better points of what's going on?
Yeah. Are there better points of these flags? Okay, so in all seriousness, the flags, we've got a short Topher, we've got all fiend refights, and we have a Topher exit. So at least Topher is tiny, because the rest of these flags are definitely difficult. I would say they are on the more obtuse side of the way you can play Final Fantasy Randomizer. Gold, pretty standard. Enemies, big swing, but 100% is the median. So it's 40% to 250. So some enemies can be super big, some enemies can be really super duper small. As far as the boss stats are concerned, holy moly, we've got a lot of clamp going on. So their stats are clamped at 300%. So that means base stats is what they have in vanilla, all the way up to 300% of what they would normally have. And then their HP is, it's not as bad as 300. It's only 250, right? So only 250. So like chaos, right? You got a chaos there. And he could be between 2,000 and 5,000 HP. That's it. Just nothing too crazy. Overall encounter and dungeon encounter rates are really low at about half of what they normally are. EXP is pretty generous, 10% per key item with 2.5 times plus 400, which is really good. Tons of incentive locations, even more items. So we've got a randomized cave, we've got ordeals, we've got marsh cave, we've got Titan's Trove, we've got earth cave behind the rod plate, we've got sky, not mirage, but only sky, but somewhere random in sky. We also have Canaria locked, and then we have a random chest in Canaria Island, or sorry, not Canaria, Cardia Islands. And no loose items will be in incentive dungeons. So the loose items will only be in volcano, sea, and marsh locked. Those are the only places in which the loose items will be located. Of course,
I think and
other
Waterfall, right?
and waterfall and like some other places like
Any of the
key lock
locked or whatever, but
that aren't incentivized. But as far as dungeons are concerned, those are where the loose items could potentially land. Our items pretty standard items, but then you have Massa, you have Excal, you have Katana, you got Defense Sword, you got Opal Bracelet, and you got Ribbon. So you have a ton of junk in the incentive pool. All right, let's keep it moving. Um, Northern Docks is turned on. Bahamut Cardia Dock is turned on, so uh, you can go do class change without the floater. We've got Lefane River Dock and we've got Gaia Mountain Pass. You can get to Lefane without the floater, but you still need the canoe. And you can get to Gaia. Same deal. You got to have the canoe to get there. Right? Pretty standard stuff that I like to see turned on. We've got the Gaia shortcut. Item shop is moved. We've got Lefanish hospitality, and then vampire attacks random town. Another thing we're going to be seeing that is very unusual that we haven't been seeing is a pre-generated waterfall cave. So waterfall normally looks well the way you've seen it in Final Fantasy, but they've pre-gened it. So now it just looks all kinds of goofy. Who knows where the robot's going to be? It could be right outside of the stairs. You could be walking north until you get back to the stairs before you realize, oh no, that's not the way I was supposed to go. And then you got to like go hunt down that robot. You just never know. And that is kind of fun as far as randomizers are concerned. We've got flipped dungeons horizontal. Holy moly. That is definitely a flag. It flips certain floors on certain dungeons horizontal. So you will see it more when it's hard to explain unless you can like obviously understand what I'm saying here. You'll see it more in practice once we go through the seed. Okay. Trap chest is turned on. Rare treasures will be behind 50 trapped chests, but key items will not be behind the trap chests. We've got a free bridge turned on. We've got random weapons and armors and shops. Uh, improved cure, heal, lamp, mute spells. That's totally standard stuff. All encounters are runnable. We have removed stun touch. We have shuffled spike tiles and alternative formations could or could not be on. It is totally tri-state. And we have alternative fiends turned on. So mm,
A lot of stuff we haven't seen in
yeah,
any of these reviews.
it's hard to go over alternative fiends like beforehand. It's just random, well, alternative fiends, like fiends that aren't normally in the game. And it pulls from a list of quite a few. And they also have their own skills and spells and all that stuff that get shuffled into the boss pool as well. And we'll kind of go over it once we see those alternative fiends. Warmech, totally required BT dubs. Lastly, party composition. We have a draft pool. So a pool of 8 different characters. Obviously, there's 6 of them, which means 2 could potentially be repeated, or you could get 4 fighters and 4 thieves, and that's all you get. It's just kind of takes a class, says, "Oh, I'm going to do a fighter. I'm going to do a black belt. I'm going to do whatever," and then it chooses 8 of those things, and that's all you can choose from, and that is your party draft. Lastly, and I said lastly earlier, but now we're still talking about lastly. We've got our thief agility turned up to 80. Our black belt master MDef is turned to 3 and 4 respectively. So black belts don't get the +4 like they normally would, and master would get the +4 instead of the +1 like it normally would. Blur's classes, we've got 2 bonuses and 1 malice. We've got just tense. We have an insert ruse item. We've got flourished weapons and armor, -3 to +3. Uh, weapon elemental slash type bonus damage is 25. And we have weaponizer turned on, which I've only played with that a couple times, but it basically just generates new weapons randomly. And you kind of have to look over the thing to see whether your party can equip said weapons. And then, of course, you have to look at the statuses to see what those weapons will do and how much damage they do and what their crit rate is and so forth and so on. So it's just kind of a new way to play Final Fantasy Randomizer with different weapons that aren't in the original game. Uh, do- Nothing too crazy. Chest and shop information is on so that you know when you pick up a weapon what it will do. Thief lockpicking is turned on to 20, and that's pretty much it. You got anything else?
No, I think you covered it pretty well.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot, and hopefully we'll be able to kind of go over everything without being like, "What's happening?" I don't understand.
Well, I think there's a lot of tools that we can provide that transfer to pretty much any Final Fantasy randomizer that you could play, any sort of flag set, and I think we're going to be showcasing a couple of those. But let's kind of get this started and see. So we have. Oh,
Yeah, we're already 30 minutes in. We gotta like,
yeah, we gotta go.
we got like,
So it looks like we have fighter, thief, black belt, fighter, thief, black mage, white mage, thief. So one fighter or 2 fighters, 3 thieves, a black belt, a white mage, and a black mage.
with this particular scaling, you hate to see just not a lot of mage power. Like no red mage, only 1 white mage, only 1 black mage. That is pretty brutal. So we got a thief, we got a fighter, and we got the black mage, which makes sense. Especially with the scaling, you're definitely gonna want to bring a white mage along
Yeah.
and black mage. So
Yeah, I would have liked to see a black belt instead of the fighter. I know that, Massa and a bunch of things are incentivized, but at the same time, I would much rather have a level 32 black belt than a level 32 fighter. I don't care if it's got a Massa +5. But we
what
get
do you think
Nuke
about
and Fade at level 1, so we're sitting pretty decent.
yeah, what do you think about picking up Fire 3 with the nuke though?
Nope, never.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm not sure if I missed that or if he did pick that up. I don't know. I have to look at the thing. But those level 1 magic spells, like Fade and Nuke, like that's pretty good. Um,
Yeah. Now, I do have to say, we got out of Canary at about the 54-second mark. I'm not going to repeat my spiel, but 9 seconds hate.
yeah. One thing I will say is I do like checking this because obviously we know that the 3 loose items will be in places that aren't incentivized. There's a ton of incentivized locations, and of course, Topher is not one of them. So you may as well go on ahead and check and see if you can get a cheeky loose right away.
Now, even if you didn't get the crystal here, I definitely would route in Matoya's checks just because of how many loose there are.
Yeah. Right. So money looking pretty bad here. This can be an issue with the low encounter rate. Is it can be hard to find money, but yeah, of course, without the crystal, you're going to check this anyway. Not only for just the money that you want. Ooh, opal. What was that? +3?
Yeah, Opal +3, and we get a monster in a box. So
There we go.
this is probably. Oh, they have a lot of health.
Yeah, that's what 40 to 250 does. Sometimes things are very healthy. Sometimes things are not so healthy. So not a ton of money that we're getting out of here. Um,
No, the depending on what we see, I would think about selling that Opal bracelet.
Yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing, but I would fight the pirates first to see what kind of money we get from this. And of course, this place is plagued by whatever. Saving here doesn't make any sense. You're not going to have an issue with the pirates, especially with Nuke and Fade. Like you just kind of throw away a couple seconds there by saving.
Yeah, I think we still had a magic charger too. So
Yeah. So there's a ship, bunch of stuff there. Nothing too great. Everything kind of rolled low.
yeah, let's see. Oh, life and exit, beautiful. There's only like two more spells that I could absolutely want.
And the Bane. That's good for the bosses. Because then you have to start thinking about insta kills, especially when you have scaling as high as it is, to get through like places like sea or sky. Um, you know, spells like Bane and Brack look a lot better when Kraken or Tia have like 2500 HP.
Yeah, the but alternative fiends are on. There are some fiends that are weak to that. But honestly, if you go into the Final Fantasy Randomizer site, under the resources tab, there is alternate fiends, and it will list all 20 some alternate fiends that you can get, their weaknesses, their spell lists, etc. Like if you're ever playing alternate fiends, load up that and have it on your have it on your phone, second monitor, same monitor, whatever, but just have it there.
I just talked about how you got to know your flags, and then I just made like a total oopsie and talked about killing Tia and Kraken when they aren't things that you can possibly kill. So here we
Well,
go.
there are still alternate fiends that are weak to that, and honestly, anyone can die to those. It's just depending on their magic defense, what the chance is if they're not weak to it.
All right, here's our first flipped horizontal dungeon. That's not weirdly hard to see.
Yeah. So I believe
All right,
Marsh Cave was incentivized. Oh, here's another flipped.
yeah. I was just about to look at everything to see what was incentivized. Why are we, again, I know we're looking for money, so I don't hate, uh, um, I don't really hate checking boxes here, but it's like, you know, you gotta go.
Yeah.
And you're not gonna find a loose item here. That spike tile was a little scary. That also lets me know that we have alternative spike tiles turned on, I think. I'm pretty sure that was one of those, but we'll find out more because seafood platter is one that does exist in the vanilla game. So, but it also exists in the alternative pool. All right.
So let's
This
see.
whole run so far, this is pretty good. Marshes look pretty good. Uh, got warp, not too bad. Picking up saber. That's a little bit more useful for the thief, especially with the scaling.
I do like picking up Expert there, just because you do have Bane at level 2, and yeah, that's I like to pick up. These bosses are gonna have a lot of hit points.
How do you feel about going to Volcano versus talking to the stages first?
I would have talked to the sages first, specifically because you're one item away from the floater. Now, the chances that the floater is going to be at the sages not that high, because the entire world, well, unless there's no canal,
Yeah,
and you
and
still have
these
ice cave, and it's probably not going to be there.
and this party's pretty low level too. Like, are you killing an alternative fiend that exists in Volcano at level 8
No, I even with the
or
nukes, with this
level
scaling,
11?
I'm probably not, unless I get one that's weak to Bane.
Yeah.
I'm not. But then again, there are a couple of spike tiles here to get. I didn't see if Hate had any houses, but if we did, I might consider going here and just doing a clear on it.
Based on what I've seen so far, now that I've seen a couple more spike tiles, it looks like we do have vanilla spike tiles turned on. Because that was just a pack of mages, which I know. Oh, never mind.
Oh no, the
That's the
sandworms. That's the monster in a box. I
yeah,
think.
yeah. Oh, okay. Thank you. Um, with just a pack of mages, and then of course the seafood, uh, uh, party platter or whatever you want to call it. I want to say this is the A side, but we'll find out pretty soon. Hey, there's a canal. That was a big pickup, big
Yeah,
brain play there.
that is exactly what you don't want to see though, because that also means the floater is probably not in the inner sea.
Oh my god, what? Two loose in here?
There was,
And that's
I mean,
fire.
there was a pretty good chance that there was going to be at least one loose in here.
So that fire definitely confirms that we have vanilla tiles turn on, or not vanilla tiles, but A side tiles turn on.
Yep.
So, we could be looking for eyes or agamas if we need to get levels. Um, I'm interested to see how Hate is going to get levels and what he plans on doing to take on the end game. Granted, we do have the short Topher, so end game not too terribly scary with that, but I mean, I'm still scared of it with that kind of boss scaling.
So here's kind of an interesting decision. You just found two loose. There's only three loose in here. There are a lot of dud items. You already have your loot. You're already going to have your key from the thief. Um, I don't know if I check these chests.
Yeah. I don't know though. It's still kind of hard because you're I don't know. Like the odds aren't good that you find three loose in a place like Volcano, but they're kind of good too because of the way the flags are set up with no loose and incentive dungeons. And this is one of the few incentive dungeons, or one of the few non-incentive dungeons.
Yeah, but even if I do find that, I mean, it could be the Opal Gauntlet. I mean, it could be, something
You know,
something I absolutely don't care about.
yeah. So one thing I will say about Hate's play here, and I think it was obviously a mistake, when you go into that room there, there's no reason to hit that spike though. You already knew fires were going to be on it. So, you want to kind of avoid that. There are just a little bit more efficient ways to check the chest in that particular middle room, right? Like that play. We already knew Cobras were there because of the other boxes we saw. And then now we get to find out, oh, good, vanilla that room. Nothing worse than not vanilla that room. Ooh, those
Oh,
Frosties had no
yeah,
HP.
they had nothing. Like that, the black belt in me is just licking his lips.
Yeah, giant chucks. That would have been great for your black belt as well. Uh, Moving some
Oh, let's
stuff
see.
around with the weaponizer.
Well, I didn't see what the spells that we had, but if we've got like 4 nuke casts. All right, so we get Titan as one of our ultimate fiends. Titan is weak to lightning, I want to say.
Hmm. Oof, that first hit was not very good. And
Oh,
that is a dead black mage, which is one of your main damage dealers.
Oof. Yeah, this is it. I mean, Fade's gonna have to carry us through. We've only got 2 more up. Well, there
Oh
we go.
wow.
That was extremely lucky. I honestly like. I'm talking about like talking out of both sides of my mouth here. When I say I wouldn't have cleaned those chests out, I probably wouldn't have taken that fight either. I would have I would have picked one or the other. I would have either gone straight and tried to take the fight with all my spell charges, or I would have cleaned out all the chests, use exit, save, and then go back in and go straight to the boss.
Yeah, I mean that was a pretty scary battle. I mean, because that Titan is still gonna have the same HP um scale as a carry would. So I mean, you're talking about a 600 to 1500 HP, and obviously that was closer to 600 than it was to 1500 HP.
Yeah.
So there's Temper and
Hmm.
Quad X. That's good for the Black Mage, and there's a Ribbon. So again, it's just kind of one of those things that would have checked here. It might have worked out okay to have the ribbon there. It didn't seem to be much of an issue, but to not go to Crescent first,
Um,
I don't know.
yeah, I want to go back to an original point that I have when we were talking about selling the opal bracelet. The opal bracelet is the best armor that you're going to get for a mage. Um, the issue is that it's not going to be enough to save you from a big punch, even if even if you have that opal bracelet and a pro ring and pro cape, and they all roll up. You're probably still looking at the better part of what 50 defense, and without any sort of spells, that's not going to be enough to survive a punch at like a black mage. What if the black mage is level 30? They have 280 hit points or something. There. So selling it for the gold is that you can use now is actually going to be better because it's going to be useless. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, no, that totally makes sense. So I have a question for you. And I already know the answer to this question, at least in my brain, what I would do here. But in your brain, are you going to Ice Cave here? Uh Canoeing all the way to Ice Cave for the potential that the floater is here, or are you getting out of the inner sea and hitting up all the other incentive
I'm
locations
getting
you
out
can
of the
go?
inner sea.
Okay, I was
This could pay off, but yeah, you're the random incentive here. Since we have places like
oof.
um, we have the Cardia Isles that we can go to. We have ordeals that we can go to. Um, as well as try to get our key from somewhere or get up to level 20 so that we can check all those delicious locked. Um, I guess
Well, I mean,
it takes a lot of time to canoe, and
yeah,
that's
I mean, you say all that, and then of course we get a ribbon out of here. We get like an adamant, which is fine. That's like a quick check that you can do on the way out of the inner city now. So, but it's a lot to canoe up to Ice Cave. It's one of those things I kind of learned from Crab Cakes, talking about trying to go through this whole inner sea area in the canoe is like sometimes it's better to just not do that and hope that the floater isn't there. And then, if you get in the air, you can just go to Ice Cave and then get in and out of there pretty quick.
yeah. Well, I mean, we do have warp, and with the overworld encounters at this low, you only had what 2 encounters on the way there, so it wasn't that big. But we're talking in the realm of 30 seconds. Your goal, like everyone's goal, is if the floater exists, your goal is to get it as soon as possible. So you want to do the free checks right away, and you want the quickest locations that you can get to. So it is, instead of locations per minute is what you're looking at.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to point out there is like hopping into the city, like you should have tents and cabins and houses and stuff like that. Like that just kind of kills you on time there. And then we're going back here, I assume, because we got the herb.
The fact that we've already turned in the crystal, and there's no chance that we're going to go back to the inner sea for anything. I would have actually gone around the outside to turn in the herb, because that way, if it turns into nothing, like the slab, then I can immediately go to ordeals and the cardia check, or if it does turn into floater, you're still closer than you would be if you were in the inner sea.
And I do like going here, obviously, finally checking this magic, because we do have the slab, and we're still looking for the vendor item. Not sure why we're even checking. I guess with the weaponizer arm, it does make sense to check item shops, or weapon and armor shops. But we know that the monster in the boxes are gonna hide good gear, so there's really no reason to be checking armor and weapon shops at this point.
Yeah, I agree with that. And not only that, but we have the Masamune, the Katana, the Excalibur, and the defense all incentivized. So there's a chance we're going to find at least one of those.
Yeah, so now we're in here. We do have the rod, which we found there. I like that he's not checking these. He realized, oh, I don't need to check Earth 1, 2, and 3, because, well, the incentive's not going to be here anyway, and we know that the incentive is going to be behind the rod lock. But we are going to check some of these
I like this. I
these
do
spike.
like checking the room to see if there was a trap chest.
Yeah. And I'm totally fine with that, since we know that we're going to get good gear from those spike chests. But look at his levels already. Like, talk about how good the XP is here. He's already level 18.
Yeah.
And like, we're only like 35 minutes in. We haven't like really explored outside of just those few dungeons we already went to. I love that. Checking it and making sure, seeing if there's like the little check mark on it. Good play. All right, so this room here is going to have our incentive item, or this particular floor is going to have an incentive item of some kind. Obviously, not in that room. I do like the warp there. It's quicker to warp back to the floor previous and then go back down this way. That was a good play on Hate's part.
And by the way, this is reversed. This is my least favorite floor to be reversed. My mind cannot handle it.
Yeah, and here we go. The
Oh my.
floater. Wow.
So what was that? What was that chain? That was the
Loose.
adamant, which was in ice, to the herb, to the rod, to the floater.
Oh no, no, it was a loose rod in volcano. So
Oh, that's
going
right.
to ice cave was
Right.
completely not required as of right now. I mean, we don't know what the slab will turn into, but it's just, again, if we
All right.
hadn't gone to ice cave, then. But then we're
Yeah.
kind of in that situation. Like, going to volcano was like kind of a risky play, but we do have 3 loose items, and we know that a volcano kind of place would potentially at least have 1 loose item based on the way the flags are set up.
Yeah.
Ooh, there's your dungeon.
There it
Going
is.
here before floater. How do you feel about this play?
I have mixed feelings about it. I personally like to do it, but it feels like it saves time, but I don't actually think it does.
Yeah.
That said, I will do this every time. But there's two things that I want to talk about as we're going through the maze here. The first one was, so you saw the second fiend, which was Gilgamesh, and for the life of me, I can't remember. I think Gilgamesh is weak to time. If someone in chat can verify that for me. But the other thing is, oh, where was I going here? Something that I used to talk about all the time, but I haven't mentioned a lot, is to double down on bad decisions. So I'm not saying that going to Volcano was a bad decision. It was definitely a play that had a high probability of getting a key item. What I would have liked to see, now that I'm reflecting on it, is you got the rod out of there, and the rod is incentivized. I would have loved to see immediately going to Earth Cave after that, because if anyone didn't, like, if the incentive in Earth Cave is a good one, like it was with the floater, and somebody didn't go to Volcano right away, you now have a huge lead over them. Doubling down on that decision to go to Volcano would put you at a massive advantage.
I totally agree with that. We got the crown out of ordeals. We've seen a ribbon, but there's still like 4 other. I Ribbon's not a dud by any stretch of the imagination, but it's not go mode, right?
Correct.
So we'll see what this crown turns into. Um, but yeah, now we're in the air. Um, good routing going in there, picking up those level 6 spells now that we can afford them and we can actually cast them. Checking this is good. Oh, I was gonna say, oh, what was that? I assume that was an accidental reset there.
Yeah.
Like costing a couple seconds. There's our Oxtail. So, uh, man, like this just goes to show, like there are no plays that are bad plays. Clearly,
Yeah. I love immediately going next Sarda. And Rich Bork, yeah, absolutely. Like, oh, we get the tail out of here, which we should immediately go promote. But yeah, when I say double down on bad decisions, it's completely serious. I have a problem whenever I say something. It sounds sarcastic, but trust me, it is not. It's about this game. You can get bad luck in it. And if you make a bad decision, it just compounds it. So trying to turn that bad decision or any decision into your advantage is a key to victory. And there's no other way to say it.
good menu in here. Just trying to move some stuff around after class change. Trying to figure out what does better damage, what we should have on our persons, and so forth and so on.
Now, I would actually have not done any of that. I would have slapped on the thing that the first thing that I saw that had reasonable stats on it and never touched it again until I got another sword. Because if something does an extra 2 or 3 damage, who cares? But if you get that mass immune or you get the katana, then I care. Then I'm gonna spend time and go back and menu. But that was honestly like 20 seconds that you really didn't have to do. And Jat's a big proponent of like only equip weapons, twice. The first time you get one, or I'm sorry, 3 times. The first time you get something, the second time is your mid grade weapon, the last time is your end game weapon.
And right now, like exiting. Okay, so we got our last loose, or no, that was our Cardia incentive.
That was our Cardi
Uh,
incentive.
yep, which was the Ruby,
The
I think is
Ruby
what that
as a
was.
sub.
Yeah. So one thing I will say about that whole Cardia thing is like you don't need any of the money you just picked up in there. Like, like what are you buying at this point? You already have your level 6, level 5 spells. I mean, if you need fast, which is the only thing I could really think of that you would want to pick up at this point, yeah, you can go on ahead and pick that up. But it just seems like a lot of like exiting, walking back out instead of like resetting, saving yourself a few seconds here and there. Well, we did get the katana out of here, which is pretty dope. And
Oh,
what
we
was
got a
that?
power gauntlet.
Power gauntlet. Heck
Yeah, Katana
yeah.
+2 and a Power Gauntlet. That's nice. I want to talk about Monster in a Box for a second. One thing that I love about Monster in a Box is that if you run away, it acts as you don't fight the monster, so you can engage again. So let's say you get a 3-eye tile in there and you only get 2 eyes. You can absolutely run away, open the chest again, and try to fish for that last eye. I would have thought about doing that once with those nachos. Nachos don't give the greatest amount of experience, but every little bit helps. Because I'm not taking overworld battles, obviously, because of the scaling. I'm probably not taking a lot of battles in dungeons other than the monster in a box. I got to get that experience where I can.
Yeah, I gotta point out something here too. Hate's routing was really good there. Knowing he had hit level 20, went on ahead and checked the Cardia, or sorry, Canaria locked without the key. But he had level 20, so he knew he could do it with the Steve. And then also going on ahead and running into Canaria, knowing that level 1 nuke was a thing. And man, there it is. Max price fast at level 8. That's brutal.
So that's let's see. Oh, we get the cube out of there. What was the so yeah, the god, the scaling on the gold was only 30 to 300. Like it's pretty standard. Um but those were expensive. I know that Greg, you just talked about like not you not needing gold for anything, and literally like 99% of the time that's true. And even if like and even after checking all of those chests, we still didn't have enough gold. So
Hey, there's our mass immune. So we're doing pretty good. We got a max immune, sorry. And we have Katana. That's it's pretty good
Yeah, even though it's
for
-1, like that's end game. We need what 15 more levels, maybe get ourselves up to about level 36.
uh, oh, there's our TNT. That's our vendor item. And I do kind of like doing this. We already have the Oxia. We know that we got to go to Waterfall anyway, and we've got to light up our earth or our sorry, our water orb. Now here's the deal though. We've seen two of our loose items. Where are we as far as go mode is concerned? Do we have a chime?
I don't believe we have. We don't have our chime, and we don't have our key, but we don't need it because we got a thief. Ghost Pirate making a very good point in chat. When you have, like 10 or more houses, I kind of plan out the fact. All right, I'm going to be using a house after like 2 dungeons. I still have Oxyale. I still have the water. I still have the air. I'm probably going to be using 3 more houses just to get my magic charges back. That means that instead of walking to inns, I can absolutely be warping out using those houses because I have 10 of them.
Yeah. Also, another
So
thing I want to point out here is like if you're struggling in a Proggen waterfall, there is no reason to be walking around as much as you are. Just go on ahead and reset and go back in. Like if you go a certain direction and it's like a dead end, just reset because you're gonna walk back the way you came. You're gonna lose a little bit of time doing all that. Just reset, go a different direction, and eventually find where you're going.
well, we
But
got the
looks like we
chime
got
money
our
here.
time, so
That's
that
go
is
mode.
yeah. I think as long as we have the loot, yeah, we are good to go.
Yeah,
So
I think the
54
princess
minutes
gave
in,
us the loot.
yeah. And normally I would say do not check this for any reason, shape, or form. But of course, we've got that pretty high boss scaling. But then, of course, we've also seen all the other magic in the game. So I'm not sure why we check that.
Yeah.
Like if you already checked Gaia, you got kind of everything you need. There's no real reason to check those magic shops there. That was kind of a fizzle thing that I learned when I first joined the community. Is like, why are you checking level 7 out of the way, high level uh 8 magic shops if you only are gonna get like one charge of it. Now, granted, it's different here with the scaling and how much levels we're gonna get.
Yeah, but I mean, watching this, it's very obvious. So hate is a experienced duckling, as I'm going to put it. Um, and I'm going to be really excited to watch Hate. I am not uh, in the market to pick favorites for the Duck Derby, but if you
No.
twisted my arm, Hate is going to be in my top 3. Just by everything that I have seen, not just tonight. So the things that we're picking apart are really the refining aspects, things that are going to save you between 10 and 15 seconds a pop. And if you can correct maybe 10 of those things, I mean 2.5 minutes is an eternity when it comes to racing.
Yeah. Uh, okay, just kind of had a moment. Yeah, 8 came ninth place. Here we go. We got Efreet, which I'm assuming probably weak to ice or some sort of.
Weak to ice.
Have to take that wild guess, based on Efreet that I know from all the other FF games.
Now, anything that's weak to ice, it's actually going to be better to cast Ice 3, I believe, than it is to cast Nuke.
Yeah, but luckily we had plenty of nuke and fade charges, and Efreet was not really doing a whole lot. So that's 2 orbs. We're in go mode. We're going to turn in this TNT for the potential of picking up a defense sword, which is God. That was kind of the one thing I was hoping he was looking for in all those chests is like defense power bonk. That's kind of what you're gonna need to get through these last couple of fiend fights, I think,
Yeah.
especially at the scaling.
But I don't like the routing at this point. Um, we have access to Sky. I would have gone to Sky first, done that, and then when I was coming back to Temple of Fiends, then I would have uh, done the TNT turn in.
Yeah, I kind of have to agree with that as well. Just because I think that we talked about it again. The whole we're doing the old checking things, and we got T-Rexes on the hard reset and sandworms right afterwards. Holy moly! That is a good way to get your party some serious levels.
That is. However, full party grinds always feel bad. This is coming from someone who will do a full party grind, so I don't want to completely like outright shut them down. But you know what would feel great if I had a
Yes, I
black
was.
belt here and I took 3 minutes and got that black belt up to level 50 and just said I'm gonna win the rest of this seed.
I was just about to say the exact same thing that you said. If you are going out of your way to check a desert grind, like why didn't you bring a black belt? Like I get it, you got the weaponizer turned on, but the black belt you can grind up to you would be level 50 right now, and then you would not even have to worry about whatever Tiamat's gonna be, and then whatever the other alternative fiends are gonna be in Topher.
And so I'm gonna say this, and this is very serious. Um, so personally, like I've talked with Greg on this multiple times. I don't like playing the black belt style, and some people do, and some people don't. I have nothing against it. If that's how you like to play, that is perfectly acceptable. I like to play where I do, kind of the lowest level party that I can, have a white mage try to eke through with chaos, and it's just that's where I get my fun. So when you have flag sets that are obviously black belt, it's important to put aside the hubris of, oh, I don't want to play a black belt because I don't like that style. And it's the same that goes the opposite way. When you have an obvious flag set that's meant for a thief or a fighter, like don't just take a black belt because you can. Basically, I had to get over myself and just take the party that was correct for the flag set.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that that's the case here. That's just kind of my personal struggle with choosing parties.
Yeah. No, I kind of have to agree with you here because I was of the mind, I the exact opposite of you. I was the person that would always play black belts no matter what, and I had to learn super duper quick, especially when I first joined the community. When we used to have like tons of loose and like super high encounter rates, and by super high I mean like vanilla encounter rates. That the black belt is not the best person to bring when you're cutting down a bunch of loose items and you're taking battles more frequently. So yeah, as Lord Fizzlebeef says, super high, point 0.8, but that's point 0.8 overworld. He's talking point 0.8 overworld, which is the same as like vanilla in dungeons.
This
Because
is
in
super
the
high.
vanilla game, you got 10 encounters per 256 steps, and in dungeons it was 8. So
What's that? All I'm saying is Tal Bachman thinks that point 0.8 is super high. So
luckily.
I don't know if that was too out there. But um, I had somewhere to go, but I got nothing.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, right. I know.
I
I
kind
know.
of
I know
yeah.
where I was going. So, the theory here is that, hey, you did need to take a grind with this party. You absolutely did. That was the right call. It just still feels bad because we do have a required war mech, which is also like a huge sign to say, hey, take a black belt, because there's a reasonable chance that your black belt's going to be the only one to survive it if you're low level, and even if they're not, your black belt's going to gain a level or two on this, so you can stop the grind early. But it all comes down to, would you rather have a full party of level 30s or would you rather have a 42 black belt? The answer 100% of the time is going to be, I'd rather have a 42 black belt. Okay,
Yeah, but
99% of the time if you have a negative hit blurs on the black belt, but whatever. Carbuncle,
all right,
no weaknesses. I remember that.
here's Carbuncle here. Uh, Made pretty short work of that Warmex, so that was actually a really good battle. And then of course everything's just gonna roll live. Everything, nothing's gonna actually like roll, closer to that 300% HP or whatever.
So even with the low encounter rates, we still did a lot of chest checking because we had to. I do like, I know hate. We've had conversations, and you are a little bit of a loot goblin. I didn't see that much of it here. Like besides the couple of like, oh, I probably wouldn't have checked the rest of uh of Volcano, and I probably wouldn't have checked some of the cardio ones after I found the incentive. Uh, Besides that, you're pretty good. You weren't at like correct Jet levels, but you were definitely an improvement over what we
See,
saw of
everybody's
last Duck
picking up
Derby.
the Whirlpool here. What are we doing? Why are we fighting this for the? Was that a -3 or a +3?
That was a -3.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I mean that Maximine is gonna way better.
Yeah, I can see getting the fight. I mean, what I would like is to have gotten to a level where I have my hit break point, and I think with the Maximune and the fighter, that hit break point is 36 with a -1, and we're like level 34. I would have just tried to like time that a little bit better.
It says that the Vorpal -3 has 103 crit. That must have been something that was part of the old weaponizer thing. Uh-oh. We got a dead something in the front row. We got
Oh
a dead black
geez.
mage. This is not
Yeah.
good.
That's exactly what I was saying. I don't think that Black Mage was wearing the opal bracelet, but I'm pretty sure if it was, it still would have died there.
Our defense is like hitting everybody. What's going on here?
So the defense sword is an
Ah.
invis 2, I think.
Ooh, we're not
Um,
landing hits though.
no, we're not
Any
landing hits.
reset.
So let's see the adjustment.
Yeah, and that's the scary part about having that scaling like that is it's not just about HP and like hits and stuff like that. It's about the evade. And a lot of these enemies already have really high evade. So when you're clamping their evade to 250%, I mean a lot of these guys, especially once you get past like Lich 2 and Carry 2, uh, in their respective areas, are gonna have close to max evade. And then how are you gonna deal with that? Gotta have that lock and lock too. That's all I'm saying.
So those first two bosses seemed, reasonable. We can get through those.
Yeah.
It really is just either going speed and power against Ifrit or going defensive.
Yeah.
I don't think we tried a full speed and power last time, but um, I agree with kind of going with the defenses, casting lock.
Hmm.
I mean, your goal is to make the white mage and the one other character survive this. I mean, you get away with the white mage, I guess.
Yeah, but picking up the lock is like something, kind of newer players don't think to do, especially since it's not really that required um for the kind of duckling style flags that we do. But when you have like scaling like this, absolutely lock and lock two are mega important to get that evasion down on those fiends. So I like the adjustment there, able to get through Ifrit. Bad turn order gets our black mage down, which is not good considering again, we got to get some locks fast and stuff like that out there. So let's see how this carbuncle battle goes.
Going back to another thing, I noticed that hate after you did the loot plate, you exited and you saved, you did end up having 9 houses. And this seems like really picky, and I apologize if it sounds that way. But every time that I watch a match at the end or I race in a match, I see how many consumables I have. And if I have way too many of one, like I kick myself and go, okay, I didn't actually need to buy those. Or if I just bought them because they're there. Like these are things that, save a couple of seconds and you can avoid um a couple second time loss, I suppose.
All right, so I missed alt battle here, but it looks like we got a couple of carbuncles with a bunch of cobras here. So we got to fight carbuncle 2 twice now. Admiral Tryhard wondering, was there no temper? Temper was level 6. So again, we've got another dead black mage. That is no good considering we want to get those tempers out there. But I do like again getting those defenses out there, using the saber on the thief there. Like really good plays here by Hate going up against this battle. We got a carbuncle down. I imagine this is going to be over here pretty soon, and that's it.
All right. Let's put a little
Man,
pause on this guy.
I don't really
that
have.
was some GGs.
Yeah, it was a big time GG. I don't really have much to say outside of what I've already said. I mean, we talked about some routing stuff. We talked about, yeah, the consumables that you were just talking about a second ago. But at the same time, I saw him go into cities a ton of times to save when he had consumables. So it's like,
Yeah. And that's
why are
yeah,
we,
that's nitpicky, like I said before, but it's absolutely true. You know, assume that it takes you 5 seconds to do that versus a quarter of a second, and you've done that 6 times. That's 30 seconds right there.
yeah.
But
So,
but that was for this, even for this scaling, like an hour 20 is still really good for all of the things that I saw here.
yeah, that was really well done, really well played. Um, I mean, we come across like obviously it's the pottery. We're trying to like kind of point out the things that can make you a better player, but not in like a way that would, crap all over your plays. Uh, But man, I mean, I thought that was really well done. Even the things that I was like, I wouldn't have done that ended up working out well in your favor because you decided to go to Volcano. And if you were going to go to a non-incentive dungeon looking for loose items, Volcano was the place I would go. You know, just those few routing things that I think Deadpool's mentioned, and just a couple other random routing things that I kind of mentioned. I think I don't know. What do you think?
Um, I was rehashing a couple things. Jack does bring up a valuable point about there's rarely over purchasing with long Topers. This unless you have infinite healing magic. That's why I always like to bring. That's why I love white mages. Because I don't need to use many heal potions. It's actually quicker to just cure 4 people. But I was just referring mostly to your houses and cabins. A lot of times, people will get on the lazy side, I guess, and say, "Oh, I'll just buy these, 61 cabins because it's only, 8 button presses to buy them, and I'll probably use most of them." And then they end up with 40, 40 tents still in their inventory at the end. Not that I mean they were probably cheap enough, but it's just one of those things. Like you can, if you budget better, you can save time.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree.
That we
So,
spent
I mean,
we spent a lot of time on something that's like really insignificant, and I'm giggling about it. But at the same time, it's also a mindset. Like do things that are going to be quicker or just be fast.
no, I agree. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't really have any much to say outside of that. Hopefully, Hate really kind of enjoyed what we had to do here. I know it can be kind of hard to put yourself in the spotlight like that and then have yourself under the microscope, as they would say, especially with us talking about your kind of plays and stuff. But we got 2 more weeks of this. Wednesday nights for the next 2 weeks um, of doing, the VOD reviews. So yeah, go on ahead and get them out there. Hopefully, we can get to them. We're not trying to double up like we did 2 weeks ago. So we're going to do two more people, and we will determine who those 2 people are, you know, as they come in.
Yeah. So
Outside of that, oh, sorry, going ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, we anybody that submits a review that doesn't involve flags for the actual Duck Derby or any competition that is coming up, we will review, just not on the Puff and Pulse Variety Hour. Like we'll either get together or we'll hire out to make sure that anyone who submits a VOD review before this Sunday will get reviewed before the Duck Derby.
So yeah, I mean, that's definitely going to happen. We will make sure that you guys get reviewed. May not happen on the Wednesdays, like I just said. It will happen at some point, and that's just kind of what Deadpool and I are trying to do. Hopefully, Jack can join us too because he's the originator of the of the VOD reviews. Um,
I
outside of that,
still
let's go on
hear
ahead and
Jad's
just
voice screaming in my head when I do something wrong.
telling me, why are you in that city? Why are you
Yo,
looking at these
that's
things?
exactly what it is.
Why?
I
Yeah,
love Jad so much because it's like, why are you checking this chest? Why are you taking this fight? And just,
yeah.
yes, I know, I'm doing the
I
thing.
know. I know. Why am I checking the weapon shop in Crescent? What am I doing? What am I doing in here?
No, Jet doesn't
Uh,
yell. He's very polite. But I'm gonna say, go ahead and watch Jat's VOD reviews that he has done over the ages for more information on this. If you're looking to study, if you're looking to practice, if you're looking to win this Duck Derby coming up, that is absolutely something you should do.
yeah.
But yeah,
So
go
without
ahead and take us out.
I was just gonna say, without further ado, let's go ahead and just talk about what's going on tomorrow night, 8:30. Dark Moon doing his extra credit stuff, which will be posted on the Async Weekly shortly after he is done with, well, of course, that extra credit thing. Sunday night, we will be doing race 2 of the Platy Party tournament thing slash Duckling Boot Camp Week 5. Also, after that, we will go on ahead and reveal our groups. Who is racing on Tuesdays at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and who is racing on Sundays at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All that stuff will be revealed on Sunday. Um, Mondays, we have our weekly race at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And after the extra credit at 10:30 Eastern Standard Time, we have our second weekly race. I don't think there's anything else outside of those things that I just talked about. Can you think of anything else that we do here at the Final Fantasy Randomizer?
Well, I'll tell you one thing: it's not going to be a Minnesota goodbye.
Not a Minnesota goodbye. I'm gonna have to tell you guys right now, on behalf of myself and Dead Pulse, hate for putting out the VOD review that we just did. You guys have an awesome night, and we will see you around. Oh, and by the way, clear your calendars on New Year's Day. There may be like an archipelago race happening. Get you and
Ooh.
two of your buddies together and learn how to archipelago playing Final Fantasy Randomizer. Do it. I hear it's at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on New Year's Day. Anything else? Got anything?
Nope. Thank you for joining us on this, the fourth week of the Puff and Pulse Variety Hour. Join us again next week. It's been a blast. Thanks again to Hate for putting himself through this torture. I hope that everyone learned a little bit. We had some funs. We had some laughs. Everybody have a good night.